impacts, fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now. Whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku. Now, quite a bit of things have happened with him. In the last part, Joe Fixit manifested within Deku's mind, and currently the Grey Hulk as he is called, he is now around. Now, thanks to Joe Fixit, he remade or re-established contact with Mitsuki and Katsuki. Now, while that went on, you did actually have Earth's mightiest, S.H.I.E.L.D., Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Now, these three, along with All Might, showed up to the front door to confront Deku. However, they found that this was not really him, and many things were starting to get thrown around, and blame was being thrown too. The idea that since this is not the Hulk, this is a side effect caused by the medicine Deku was taking. There's also the idea that perhaps Stark caused something to happen, and just maybe it is his fault. Now, in all actuality, these are the things that are thrown around. However, it is not the reason. Deku's interaction with Charles, and the recent events that have caused Deku to not be able to turn into the Hulk because of his anger, caused all this to happen. The feelings and memories of Deku being beaten by his father, they have manifested themselves as Joe Fixit, the Grey Hulk, and as the Human. Now, the Grey Hulk is very similar to the Green Hulk, just he's smarter, but his capacity to get angrier and stronger is smaller. Now, that does mean that he's a very, very intelligent man compared to the Hulk. However, he's more witty and cunning, so he's basically a trickster Hulk. Now, with that being said, he basically offered the heroes to fight outside the city, since fighting here can actually harm people he cares about. Now, we do actually have where Deku is staying there, or the Grey Hulk, and he's currently just waiting, as you do actually have Thor. He does want to test this monster. He's heard much of it from the Tony of Stark, and from Captain, or the Captain if you will. However, he's curious to test it out. Whenever they explain this to him, they explain it to him like it was a giant beast, a giant green monster. But 'tis not green, 'tis grey. So where is, pray tell, this monster? Now, you do actually have where the Hulk, he is staring at Thor, and well, he's kind of confused. He knows that the green one has faced off against a blonde guy before. Is this it? Now, Thor does at least mention this to Deku. Is he the one who he wants to face? It depends. Are you the one I get to smash? I see. You are not very talkative, are you, beast? I am. However, right now, I'm just angry. So, I'm in the mood to smash some stuff. This being where the Grey Hulk does rush towards Thor. And Thor, he does just stand there, going to swing his hammer as he does actually rush towards Deku. Now, the two, they are rushing towards one another. And Stark, he's currently at least monitoring the battle to gain data from it, since he's very curious. as we do actually cut back down to the battlefield, where the two they do meet. Thor actually going to jump upwards and directly smash Deku upwards into the face, as the Grey Hulk does actually go jumping backwards for a second before Thor does come in. Him actually being able to smash Deku in the gut before actually going to smash him across the face with his other fist, before actually going to bring out his left hand and recall his hammer, smashing Deku to the left and right as Deku goes scurrying down to his left. As that does happen, Thor does stand there. As Deku, he does go to get back up off the ground, and Thor does at least turn to Stark asking if this is really all he has to offer. To which Stark does do one simple thing, pointing upwards, as Thor does turn back around, before being met with a giant fist directly into his gut, sending him flying away into the woods, as Deku does watch the hammer that fell. And Joe Fixit does look down at it, thinking that the Goldilocks is using a hammer, so he's going to use this toy against him, reaching down and going to pick it up. As he does grab onto it, he does try to lift it, but he can't. What the hell is this thing? I'm going to pull on it more and more, as he's actually starting to get angrier. And, well, it's not working, so it gets angrier. It's kind of confusing to him. Why can't he lift it? Goldilocks can. He's strong, isn't he? Now, Thor actually does bring up his hand, as the hammer does go flying towards him, and the Hulk, he actually is still trying to hold on to it, as his feet are skidding into the dirt, and Thor does go walking out of the woods, with his hand up as Deku does finally go to let go of it. Now, Thor, as the hammer was coming towards him, he actually going to do one simple thing. Bring out his hand and catch it. As Deku or Grey Hulk does ask Thor exactly how is that possible? It's pray tell very simple. You are not strong enough, beast. Now, Thor, he doesn't really bother explaining it, since he knows that this man is not worthy. So he just does go rushing back in. As Grey Hulk, he does at least say back to him that he is stronger, and that he is the strongest there is, as he does go rushing in. Now, the two do meet back in the battlefield, and right now the two are just going back and forth. Deku actually being punched around and knocked around, as Thor, he actually does maintain the upper hand. His smaller and more agile size, he's able to actually punch upwards into Deku's ribs, and using his hammer, he actually is knocking him around, as he actually does go to punch into the Hulk's body, sending him flying backwards, before bringing his hand up with his hammer and going to actually throw it outwards as the Hulk is going to bring up his hands, crossing them over into an X as the hammer does smash right into them as hard as it can. And the Hulk, he actually does break both of his arms, as the hammer, it does get called back to Thor. And the Hulk does go falling forwards onto the ground and going to actually bring his hands down, putting a lot of weight down onto them, as he does somewhat scream out in pain, before Thor does come walking up. Pray tell, beast, why are you doing what you do? You might as well give up. Your arms are broken. You don't seem to really understand what's going on here, do you, Goldilocks? Now, Joe Fixit, he's well aware of what things are going on in his head. Currently, Izuku, well, he's not really here. He was put back in his cage, you could say. He can feel that string Deku has, that one thing he does fear, and he himself does somewhat fear it. The Hulk losing control. He can understand it, but right now what they need is that. So, we do actually cut into the mind realm. Or, yes, let's just call it that for right now. Where Deku, or Joe, is staying there right in front of the Hulk. Him looking gray, as the Hulk, he looks big and green, as the two are right outside of a door, where they can look inside and see Deku facing away. However, he does at least have one hand up, pointed in that direction, and the two they do both look back at each other. Before the Grey Hulk does bring his hand up to the green, and the two they do shake hands. Now, as that actually does happen, you do actually have Thor, who, as he actually does go to bring up his hammer and sock the Hulk across the face, he does send him flying away into the forest. Now, these two Hulks, they don't really know too much about each other. But for right now, they can only agree on one simple thing. If they're going to win, the big green guy needs to get out there. And he needs to show off that they are the strongest there is. Now, you do actually have where the Hulk, as he was in midair, he did actually go unconscious for a second. Before his gray skin turned green and his eyes did open back up again. And his arms, they actually did start to heal. Now, as it did actually happen, Thor did fly over to where he thought the Hulk may have landed. And he started to get ready. As whenever he was staying there and waiting, he did actually at least ask the giant beast if he is either dead or unconscious, since that would be actually quite bad. Thor actually getting to the crater as a giant hand has come out. It immediately going to grab onto Thor and wrap entirely around his head. As it does start to squeeze down, before Thor actually is going to bring his hand up and try and sock it or break the giant green arm. However, upon punching with his arm, nothing happens. And then trying to grab it with his other arm, nothing does happen. Him actually trying to bring both of his hands up and wrap them around each other, trying to buckle Deku's arm down. However, there's just one problem. The Hulk does step out, bring up his other hand and going, "What's wrong?" The beast. This is different. You said you were strong, didn't you? Now, the Green Hulk actually does go to punch his left hand directly into Thor's gut. And at least bring it backwards, punching him again and again. Before actually going to do one thing. Going to let go of Thor's head before Thor does go stumbling backwards. Coughing up blood before the Hulk does go to bring up his right fist. Cocking it backwards, telling that the Hulk is strongest, before sending him flying with a punch. Now, Tony Stark was recording this, as Thor went from standing right in front of the Hulk to being sent flying into a nearby mountain. Now, as that actually had happened, there was whenever Tony Stark did try to get involved. As fighter jets in the military overhead, they themselves were very concerned. Fighter jets immediately going to blast Deku with ordnance, and Tony Stark at least trying to ask Hulk if he's in a talking sort of mood. Now, whenever the jets did come overhead, there actually was whenever a missile was flying straight at Deku. Deku looked up in the air before looking right at it. The Hulk going to bend down and go to grab into the earth, ripping a piece of rock out which before going to toss her at the missile. Now, the missile and the piece of rock do actually hit each other, the two exploding as robots go flying at a high rate of speed. And there actually is with the Hulk to start to avoid the missiles by doing this simple little thing. And Iron Man, he is at least trying to monitor the Hulk, his output to strength, everything, his tactics. Now, as the jets, they do actually set off more ordnance and then go to actually at least fly back around, there was this time. The Hulk, he actually did take a tree, and he did send it flying right up into the air, actually hitting the wing off of a fighter jet. As the man, he did eject. And the Hulk, whenever he did see that, he looked at the other jet, and he did go to get ready. Now, the jet, whenever it does fire explosives, and the Hulk does catch the missile this time, he does go to rip the top off of the warhead, and then go to directly crunch down on it, as he does just send the missile, or send the delivery system right back at the, well, aircraft, yeah. Now, as it is sent backwards, actually just hit the and fly into the wing. As the man, whenever he does try to at least eject, he finds that the system has been damaged. And he actually is trying to steady it out as the thing is falling. Now, Hulky is actually looking at the aircraft, waiting for the guy, waiting for the guy, but nothing happens. And there actually was whenever Joe does inform him that that guy's not getting out. The Hulk actually going to run over. And as the aircraft is about to hit the ground, he actually does stand right above it, bring up his hands, and actually is going to catch it. Now, the Hulk, he's actually trying to be careful. Tiny man, big aircraft. That being what his entire thought process is. And you do actually have Iron Man, who he actually is watching this. The Hulk just caught the nose of a fighter jet. And those things have got to weigh a lot. But even then, there's the guy. Whenever he was caught by the Hulk and he actually at least opened his eyes forwards, he immediately brought out his hands, putting them onto the console before actually flipping out the machine gun and trying to fire a burst right into the Hulk's face. Now, the Hulk, whenever this did actually happen, he felt these bullets bouncing off of his skin. However, the loud flash and bangs did annoy him, as he at least did go to chuck the aircraft to the right before actually at least going to look around. Now, he's getting mad, and he talks about how puny human, or at least puny man, pissed him off before going to turn. Now, you actually do have Thor, who he is staying there with his hammer, informing this beast that he is the Odinson of Asgard, and he will not be defeated here. Now, the Hulk does look right at Thor, before just rushing towards him. Thor going to actually swing out his hammer as he does hit the Hulk. However, the Hulk just hit him with the right hook, and the two are sent flying backwards, and Thor does smash onto the ground. As Deku's Hulk does go walking forwards, and Thor, he actually is looking up, trying to bring his hand out to reach out for Mjolnir. As Deku, he does go to bring up his leg and smash it right down into Thor's right arm, as he'll start to put more and more weight down, at least looking down at Goldilocks. Thor actually trying to bring up his other hand to catch Mjolnir. However, Hulk does go to bring up his other leg and smash it right down. Now, he does just stand there on top of Thor, as he is going to at least tell him that the Hulk is the strongest there is. Hulk cannot be defeated. He shouldn't forget that. Pray tell, beast, you're strong. But, now, Thor does go kicking up his legs, smashing them right into the back of the Hulk, as the Hulk does go moving forwards. One of his legs actually getting off of Thor's arm, before Mjolnir does go flying into that arm, as the Hulk does go moving to the side whenever he is actually kicked or hit in the leg with Mjolnir. Now, when this did actually happen, it hurt the Hulk, and upon moving off of Thor's other limb, Thor got right back up, using his one good arm to try and fight. Now, from here on, many things would happen. Mutants, they are trying to keep this inside their own circle. Meanwhile, the military and everyone else, they're more concerned with this experiment. They want to see exactly how far the Hulk can be pushed. So far on their scale, this Thor guy's a 5, maybe a 6. And the two, they're going head to head. That's not really too good. But there is one little silver lining. Whenever Stark does get involved, Thor, yeah, he does at least show some form of defense. However, upon Hulk getting tired of the battle and sending Thor flying to another nearby mountain, Hulk does turn and go to leap off. Now, Stark does try to follow him, along with even the American military, or the Japanese military. However, it gets a lot more complicated whenever Hulk, he actually does do a few things. Number 1, he leaves Japan. And number 2, he's lost somewhere around the time he went into the ocean. And he may have gone underwater. Now, it was hard for them to try and find the Hulk, as we do actually cut to Deku, or at least Joe Fixit, about a few days later, where the Hulk, he's been able to somewhat try to hide. Now, Joe Fixit, he wakes up on a beach, and he's looking around before he's very confused, as he does see a message made in the sand out of what appears to be a giant log and a whole lot of beach. Now, the message doesn't at least tell Joe one simple thing: run and hide. Don't trust anybody. They are strongest. And Joe does look around. Ah, shit. Well, this isn't good. Zuko. 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 Fuck, where is he at? Now, Joe does try to sit down, and he's trying to look inside of his own head. In a way, this has to work, right? Come on. Where are you? Come on, Izuku. I know you're hiding in there. Come on, you can't be scared forever. Now, Deku, he does just tell Joe to leave him alone, and that he's not coming out. He made him to handle the Hulk, so that's what he will do. For right now, he's just scared. And the responsibility of at least holding back the Hulk some will be put on him. Now, Joe does get annoyed. However, he does need to understand Deku. Deku made him as a form of trauma, or at least to break away from that trauma. So he can at least understand his thought process. But for right now, he does do one simple thing. He walks by to the nearest road and looks around, looking at a highway marker before realizing he's somewhere in Nevada. Well, this might be interesting. Joe going to at least bring up his thumb and wait. Now, with that being said, we will actually cut back to, let's just say, 2 days earlier, where Charles Xavier, he's standing in a press conference, and he's looking around at everybody, before he does do one simple thing. He does go to bring up his hands and go to undo the restraints to his helmet, pulling it off before going to toss it to the side. And everybody, they are staring at him. They do all at least have false stories. The professor wears that because of his quirk. It's an out-of-control mental order, so the metal helmet prevents it from actually working on people. However, many of them, they're looking at the doctor, and nothing happens to them. Before Charles, he does this explain to everybody. His name is Charles Xavier. He is not human. He is something called a mutant. Mutants like them do exist all over the world, and currently he has access to the information that there are over 80 million of them. Now, you do actually have S.H.I.E.L.D., who they quickly try to pick this up, and at least try to hide it. However, Charles's message, it already got out to the entire world. It was already shot up online and uploaded everywhere. Copies were made and files were downloaded. And almost immediately they realized that mutants, yeah, they're here to stay. And the public, they were made aware of this. Charles's entire speech, it was detailed. It went into more information. It was almost an hour long. Charles, he was ultimately almost taken away. However, whenever some strange blue guy did pop in and he disappeared with Charles, all that was really left there was a chair. And it was very surprising. Charles Xavier revealed to everybody that he was a mutant. A species evolved human. He exists and was born, and he's been that way ever since. However, people they do not like his powers because they are considered to be dangerous. However, people walk around with quirks every day. So, he believes that he should live normally, not the way the government is trying to force him to live. They treat him like an animal, and he hardly ever gets out of his cage, if you really want to put it that way. Even then, there are heavy security restrictions on him. Him and his people, they just want to live their lives, live side by side with humanity. And almost immediately, things start to go bad. The next day after that, many people were anti-mutant, or they did at least show concern. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.